Thank you very much for coming. There's some changes coming along very soon, and we wanted you to kind of get an understanding of what is coming your way. And if you really look at the handout and follow the presentation that Karen put together this weekend, thank you, Karen. You will see that there's going to be very little changes. Different viewing of the statements and such, that might take maybe some time to get used to it, but otherwise, overall, especially the dining services portion, will have very little changes from what we have right now. Okay, so with that, I will pass the microphone to Karen.
This is going to be interesting, but we will do this. First of all, thank you all for coming. We really want it to be a fairly informal session. It's very hard in this setup. It would have been nicer to be in a little bit different setup, but please feel comfortable to ask questions along the way, challenge something that's on the slide. First question, I think, was why did Smith Ranch Homes need to change anything? And we all know, the residents that are saying, why is anything changing, and are really having a hard time just slightly adapting to something presented a little bit differently, but actually you'll find out it's conceptually the same that we've always been doing. First of all, our current accounting system, Abacus, expired this year. And we've known about that for about a year and a half, maybe as much as 2 years. And we knew that by the end of 2025, it would no longer be working effectively. And actually, if we had to be real upfront and honest, little by little, files were getting corrupted. Staff was not able to pull the reports that they wanted to receive. And it was just very delicate software at the end of its life. So there was really no other option. We had to go out and find something. It started out initially to replace our accounting system, but it grew into so much more. There was an association management software work group that worked for over a year and to help us identify the final software that we're going to choose. And there was a systems analysis done of our needs. All the departments were looked at quite closely, and we learned a lot of what goes on behind the scenes and what we needed to address in the new software. One of the things we really wanted to do, and this was in the long-range plan a long time ago, was to find a single centralized resident database that every department was reading from the same database, which was not necessarily happening. There was one database called Building Link, but other departments didn't necessarily use Building Link. They came up with their own lists. So that was a central theme. In addition to number one being a strong accounting system, we had to have a very solid centralized resident database. What was also unique that we had to find, and that's the subject of today's presentation, is there had to be a dining program that worked for us. And as we looked at the different dining programs that were out there, none of them would count meals the way we did. What we had in our old Abacus system was this little widget that was able to check off the number of meals per month, because that was a structure that was established quite a while ago. But there was no software out there that would count meals. So we had to dig a little bit deeper, look at what really we were doing. Were we counting meals? How was that working behind the scenes? And transform that and adapt it for the Northstar system. In the end, we ended up choosing Northstar. Northstar actually purchased Abacus, and although that wasn't the only factor for going with Northstar, it was certainly a strong reason, because they understood how to translate our information from Abacus into the Northstar program. So again, why did we need to change? Because we had to. So we're going to talk to you about really how little is changing, and then the largest change we'll kind of explain toward the end. One of the other things that I just wanted to note is that as we looked at the systems analysis, the AMS work group did look at the long-range plan and some of the objectives and goals that were in the long-range plan, as well as a lot of the input from the dining committee over the last few years. And so all of these things were included. Residents did say that they valued flexibility in dining options. So we kept that in mind as we were looking for the software. And they also wanted ways to be more creative in applying our dining dollars. Now, at the end of the presentation, you're going to say, well, that's not really creative. We're kind of doing just what we do now. But what's important to remember is in the new software, there is the flexibility to continue down that path of changing at a very slow rate, Danielle, of some of the things that we've talked about in groups in the long-range planning committee on board of what our dining program could be 5, 6, 10 years down the road. So we looked for the adaptability in the software so that we could go where we wanted to go. I'm going to let Danielle talk about what's staying the same, what's not influenced at all by the new software.
So like I mentioned earlier, in terms of the current dining pattern, you will see as we move along with the presentation that really you should not have to worry to change any of your existing habits that you may have using the grill room or using the dining room for that matter. That will not change and will not affect your account at all. The grill room and the dining room hours will remain the same. There is no changes to whatsoever within the operation of the department. The menus for the grill room or for the dining room are going to remain exactly the same. There's no changes there. They are going to be posted like they have been for a few years now on the website. They will be available in paper throughout the clubhouse. No changes there. In terms of the food options, we maintain the same food program. There's no changes either. The dining room is going to feature what we call the light and diverse item plus 2 more upscale items every night. And the grill room menu will remain exactly as it is. And all the options itemized a la carte. The service, I would love to say that the service is not going to change, and it is not on the long run, but it is going to be a training. We are going to go through a training period with the staff as well, because they will have to learn to use the platform to its full extent, which in the beginning is not going to happen. The goal of the department is that the service in the dining room is such that hopefully every night you are fully satisfied about the food and the service. So because of that, I anticipate to roll out this new software program in the dining room very slowly, so it does not affect the service in the dining room and the production behind the line. But the staff is going to start training this week seriously with a representative from Northstar. So at least the staff will be able to utilize the platform to do the billing purposes to begin. So they can get accustomed to the layout of the menus and the program itself. But in terms of whatever experience you have been having in the dining room, that will remain the same. Other tables, that's always available and will continue to be available, and we will ask for the time being for all homeowners interested to attend the open house just to call the reservation desk. And then of course, the dining services, dining room is open every night for everyone to kind of get together and share a good meal along with wonderful friends. All right, so do I need to do anything at all on the computer? Well, like I mentioned earlier, all existing communication are going to remain. That's really, if you are a computer savvy and you have been using your computer just to make reservations, to place orders, to communicate with the department, you may continue to do so in the same fashion. The people who are more used of using the phone system or coming to the desk to place orders in person, that is going to be available as well. No changes. Like I said, the dining services reservation line is also open. People can call anytime to place their order, to make their reservations. All right, in the same line, the grill room phone is also available to take your phone, your lunch orders, and also to take your reservations, just like the reservation desk upstairs. And then, would you have some concern about how to navigate through the system if you were to do that, or how to adapt yourself to the new system, what we're going to implement, and you need some coaching? We are always there to assist you at any moment of the day.
I think what's important is to encourage those that are right now saying, oh, I don't want to use the computer for everything, for anything, that at some point you'll be comfortable enough to use some of the online services that are there. So maybe not right away, but I think once once the website gets settled and the functionality is there and it will be fairly easy, we do hope that you will try some of the online services. So I'm going to let Danielle continue with talking about what is available. I mean, this section should not only be about sharing with people that don't want to use the computer, that you don't have to, but I think those, as I'm looking around the room, those that are here also want to know, what can I do on the computer going forward? And two of the things that Danielle will cover are the dining reservations and the takeout orders.
All right, so dining reservations to begin. Like I mentioned earlier, phone system, personal emails, and then one in person, and then one added feature will be through the platform. The platform is designed in a way that is very user-friendly. Not like Abacus. Abacus was a much older software. Northstar comes with a lot of updates. So you will be able to do your reservations either way. Now, using the platform, at least for the time being, we are going to ask all of homeowners doing reservations for a party of 5 and more to call directly the reservation desk or to send an email. But it's going to allow us to really control the flow, especially in the beginning. And then in the grill room, the same will remain. We are encouraging people to make reservations as of now. And the reservation can also be done either through the platform or in person or by calling the reservation desk. The beauty of utilizing the system is that once you make a reservation throughout the platform, you are going to receive automatically a confirmation number or confirmation notice. And we at our end are going to see your reservation instantly.
Now, I made this reservation yesterday, and Lynn Brown is not in this session, so Lynn, if you're listening at home, we're having dinner on the 29th. And so this is a screenshot of the dining reservations as it stands now. And maybe Danielle will talk a little bit about how this translates into the server side of things, or the hostess side of things.
So, as soon as you receive a confirmation, which is going to be similar to what you are seeing on the screen, we at our end are getting the same confirmation. And your confirmation is just registered in the platform automatically. If you were to make later on some changes, you will have the availability to do some changes. Like I mentioned earlier, if Karen was to make a reservation for a party of, let's say, a party of 8, she will not be able to complete the reservations. Just because the system, as of now, is designed not to accept any reservations greater than 5 and greater at the present time. And all that can be modified as we get accustomed with the platform. There will be also times where perhaps if you use a platform, you may receive, you may not be able to complete a reservation for a party of 3, let's say. If that's the case, I will encourage you to send us an email or to call us, because at our end, management will have a greater flexibility to manage the number of reservations per 15 minutes increments. The system is designed in a way that it is very structured. So once the system reads that a time slot has reached its full capacity, then it will shut that slot. However, us, management, will have the opportunity to kind of override all those restrictions. So if we see that we are able to accommodate you at a time that is already booked, we will be able to do so, and we will let you know.
If those of you that use Open Table, what would happen is if I had put in that reservation for 6:30 and there were no tables available at 6:30, it would show you the time slots that has tables available. So I would choose 6, 6:45, 5 o'clock, whatever is showing along the bottom of your party of 3 can come at that hour. So again, it's just one less phone call back and forth with a reservationist saying, gee, I'd like to make a reservation, call me back. And she calls you back and you're not there. And then you call her, and we've all been through this. So again, as Danielle said, initially there'll be a limited number of tables in each time slot until we better understand the patterns of our residents as far as making their reservations online. So let's look a little bit about takeout orders.
All right, so in regard of the takeout, so you are going to see the menu posted on the website. You can pick up a paper menu from the clubhouse, and if you order a takeout order on a regular basis, you will continue to find a paper copy of a menu in your bag. That's to start. Then you can continue your habit of ordering your meals by phone, by emails. Now the website, in my view, is very friendly. Has a very friendly user feature in regards of the takeout orders. You don't have to fill out a form. Basically, you will have a whole menu that is going to be listed in front of you, and you will click on the items you would like to order. And then once you submit the order, we get it automatically. You will need to sign before the order is sent out, and as soon as it is approved, you get a confirmation, we get your order.
So I think right now we're used to saying we want entree number 1, number 2, number 3. Instead, you'll be checking off, I'm going to have the fish on the greens. Danielle has meticulously put together the menus and will describe what the entree is. So you'll be selecting the actual entree, not a 1, 2, or 3. And there's also a comment section that you can make, limited special requests. Very honestly, if you're in the dining room, there's lots of what we call modifiers that are available because your server is there to tailor your meal. As you could imagine with takeout, and you know what the kitchen staff does with 100 orders a night, probably the flexibility is a little bit more limited in takeout, but certainly there will be the opportunity to make a few changes.
Absolutely.
In the comment section.
The pickup time for dinner takeout remains the same at 5 o'clock. If you were to order a room service order, that would be the same. No changes. And then for lunch takeout, for the time being, all the takeout orders are placed through the phone system or in person. Now you might have an additional option to place your lunch order through the website directly. And in the same fashion as you will place your dinner order, once you approve your order, you send it through, you get the confirmation, and we get your order. For the lunch orders, this is a line that needs to be somewhat looked at in more depth. We did find to get some kind of a restrictions with the timing of the orders and then the production. We had to set some times that didn't seem to be set correctly for our needs. So we will probably ask all the homeowners when placing the orders online just to report to the grill room the next 30 minutes to pick it up. Like I said, we do need to work on this line to set up the order times and then the pickup times. This is not set exactly the way we think it's going to be good for us or neither for you actually.
So before we go into the next area, are there any questions about what's remaining the same, about takeout, about dinner reservations? Yes.
Yeah, so when I go...
Mike coming.
My sister, hold on. When I go into the dining room for dinner, have I already made my selections for the meal on the computer?
No. You will just report to the dining room as you have been all those years. And you place your order at the table with your server.
Right. Placing the orders are only for takeout to pick up at 5 o'clock for dinner.
And for reservations.
Yes.
Mary? Or Sarah?
Sorry, here.
Either way.
When you're doing it online, will there be a separate click for the vegetables, for example, that go with the entree, so that you're selecting all 3 of those?
The entrees are going to be set as shown on the menu. However, remember that you are going to have a description of the entire menu in the dining room, okay? A paper, like a copy of a paper menu on the website. Now, like Karen mentioned earlier, when you place your order, you will have room to write a comment. And this is where you are going to write your comments. Like, no green beans, cauliflower, as an example.
Right. So as they're preparing the meal for you, they will be reading in the comment area.
Just a second, Mrs. Harris.
Just to clarify, you showed a sample of placing your reservation online, and so I understand this, it's only for a table of 4 or less. If you want a larger table of 5, that's to be done through a special email or a phone call?
That is correct.
Okay.
Because those tables, if you remember, have to be, made into a table of 8,
And we want to control the flow. If we were to allow, let's say, tables of 8 to be made, reservations for tables of 8 to be made throughout the reservation, well, if we hit like 3 tables of 8, that exceed our minimum or maximum allowed in a time slot. And it doesn't work this way. So we need to be able to have some smaller tables as well in order to really increase the capacity during those 15 minutes time. So that's one of the reasons that for the reservations for parties of 5 and more, we would like to have a phone call or an email so we can navigate through the system and put you where you want, if we can.
Will the same time frame be used, that is to say, for a table of 6 or 8? You can do it 2 weeks ahead for.
Same, nothing changes. Nothing changes. So reservations of 4 or less 1 week ahead, reservations of 5 and more 2 weeks.
1 second, coming up.
In our home, we are vegans, and so we eat Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when we can, but we pay for 40 meals. So I'm wondering if then we can have lunches and have a guest or have a relative come and eat. Will all that go into our 40 meals?
Actually, I'm going to be covering that in the next section. Do you want to save that question or after the next few slides? Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. Now we're going into the parts of what is slightly changing, or in the case of your resident statement, changing quite a bit. As set by our CCNRs, every resident pays the same monthly dining services fee, and that's part of our governing documents. The dining services fee is set to cover all direct costs of having our fine 2 restaurants on campus. Without this set fee, we just couldn't afford or be able to have the restaurant services that we do have. We need the entire community to participate in supporting the 2 restaurants. The dining services fee right now is expressed as a single monthly amount, $11.02 for this year, which really is 2 parts, and this is something that, just to be real transparent about the way it is versus the way I think some residents may think about the dining services fee. The dining services fee really covers many things. It covers not only the food and labor of that particular meal, but it also covers all the rest of the overhead and non-direct costs of running that restaurant. So the indirect dining operations, and we'll go into that a little bit more later. But that is an important thing to keep in mind as we're talking about this flexible spending that I've hinted about at the town hall. And the dining services fee per our CCNRs and policies is not reduced for non-usage except in the form of an absent credit under our current policies. So that was set up quite a long time ago, and the software is not changing those policies. That's something, policies need to be changed outside of just bringing in a new software system. So how do we do it now? I think one of the things that I found most interesting throughout this whole process of working with staff to adapt the Northstar system to their procedures is what goes on behind the scenes that you never really see or know, and in some cases don't even want to know. You just want it to work smoothly. You don't care how it happens. But in doing this project, we certainly have dug into how things happen. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of behind the scenes of how the dining fee right now is applied so seamlessly. And I think in the end, what you're going to see is we're not really changing that much. It's still going to be seamless at a certain point. It's just adjusting to a new paradigm of how we're counting meals. Right now we are counting by meals, and that's been our policy, I think, since the beginning of Smith Ranch Homes. And it was originally measured by 20 meals in the dining room became the mode of the 20 meals, because that's where the bulk of our dining services certainly happens. And so a dinner meal over the 20, this current year, for example, is $40. So if you exceed your 20 meals, your 21st meal is $40, and that would be on your resident statement. So thinking of it that way, a meal at dinner is a $40 value. Now in the back office, what happens now is your resident account is clicked off for each meal that you partake of in the dining room. You don't see this on your statement, and this is where the change, I think, is going to be, is that right now you don't see the first 20 meals that you spend on your resident statement. You only see everything beyond that 20 meals. So, but if you think about the 20 meals, if you think about the fact that it was $40 for each dinner meal over the 20, it's really kind of an $800 value. 20 times $40 is an $800 meal value. That's in your assessment. That $800 doesn't cover the 1102, everybody. So what's that for? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Above the $800 for your meals is a leftover amount of $302. And what is that for? That's for the overhead costs that are not included in the direct meal. That $40 charge for dinner is the cost of the products, the food in your dinner, plus 60% of labor charges. So it's 40% food, 60% labor is the $40. So the 302 that's in your assessment is everything else. And let's look at some examples of what that would be. The kitchen equipment, repairs, the tableware, your dishes, your silverware, the recycling program, all the takeout boxes, et cetera, uniforms, flowers. Question?
Could you go back
Sure.
the screen before this? I'm a little concerned about
Here, hold on, Mrs. Tapp, hold on.
Yeah.
the screen before this. I would like a little more explanation of if we eat in the grill room, how that accumulates. And if let's say I eat 2
Okay.
meals,
I-
do you do
it
that by
will be on the-
$40 or do you do that by $10 and $15 or whatever it is?
Okay. Right now you were charged.
At the screen before that, I was clear.
I see what you mean. Oops. I understand exactly what you're asking. And I'm sorry, I did skip that line. Thank you for catching it. The grill room charge right now is either a la carte, or maybe you say to your server, I want to have this be a meal, and you get 3 sides along with your entree, and it's considered a meal, and you're charged $40 for that grill room meal. Regardless of the total of the a la carte prices, that is considered a meal and the equivalent of $40. So keep that in mind as we go.
It will be one of your 20 meals.
It's one of your
As of
20
now.
meals.
As of now.
As of now, it's checked off as one of your 20 meals.
Well, like for instance, if I just order something that's $15, does that, I'm a little confused. Let's say I don't want the meal plan, but I only ate 10 meals this month, so I have all this extra money. Does it go by $15?
Well, then you're gonna
Yes.
love the new way that we're
Yes.
counting things.
Okay, great.
I'm trying, and thank you, I didn't plant her in the audience to describe this, but I'm trying to explain the way it is now. If you eat and say, in the grill room, it counts as a full meal or a $40 meal.
As
Okay.
of now.
As of now.
As of
As
now.
of October, as of this week.
Your lunch,
Jim?
Yeah, I don't think it does.
It does.
For your 20 meals, they take the most expensive.
Correct.
They take the
dining
most-
room and the grill room.
Correct.
But for
That's correct.
everything over that,
It-
it's what it's actually.
Exactly.
That is correct.
Exactly.
That is correct.
So a lunch, well, if you had only 19 dinners this month and you had a lunch, but it's $15, let's say, well, the system will look at it as a meal, regardless of a dollar value. It's going to be a meal, the same value as a dinner, basically. However, if you go over, then the system will charge only, whatever the charge was at the grill room.
Actually, your face is exactly how we felt when we were looking at this. It's like, really? I told you we learned a lot behind the scenes.
Just a
Lil-
second.
Lillian?
Nimmelstein, hold on.
If you have a guest, what do you pay for the guest?
The guest rate, and I'll explain, I have a slide on
We
that.
haven't gotten there yet?
No, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
But the quick answer is it's the published guest rate. Okay, so now that you know how it really works now behind the scenes, and we did the why there's a little bit more than the 40 times 20 or $800 goes to all the overhead. Let's excuse me, valet services is calling me. Or not. Sorry, I have an Amazon package if someone wants to run and go get it. All right, so let's talk about November, for the months of November and December. As you know, we're going live on November 1st. And so a new way of counting our meals is going to happen. So let's talk about that. We're really going to follow the same logic that I explained a few minutes ago. But the biggest change is, remember I said there was no software that could count meals? Well, we're just going to be counting dollars instead of meals. So every month you have something called Flex Spend. You have $800 that you can spend in the grill room or the dining room. And let's say those of you that eat your 20 meals in the dining room, same thing. The $800 is exactly what it will be. And if you don't have your 21st meal in the dining room, there is no additional charges on your bill. You will see, and we have a sample resident statement for you that's really in the works, but you'll see just the $40, $40, $40, 20 times on your resident statement, and that's how you've chosen to spend your $800. And others will choose to spend partly in the grill room, partly in the dining room, but sometimes in the grill room. So for the dining room, it's, as I said, it's $40 per meal, just like it is now. For the grill room, it is the cost of what you order. So that same $40 will stretch out a little bit differently in the grill room than it currently does. So you will only be charged for, if you're having the entree and one side, you would charge the $15, the $6.50 for the side, $1.30 for the beverage, only the actual cost of what you order. Let's see if that sinks in. So that is your flex spend account that we're talking about in Northstar. So let's look at that sample resident statement that you have as a handout. I do not have a,
It's this one.
This one,
it's this 2-page
and
thing.
it's like two-sided.
It's two-sided. So this is just a draft, a prototype of what we turned into Northstar. We do not have a finished resident statement yet, but this is how we envision the resident statement to look. And again, I'm going to just put in a little caveat of, we'll see what it looks like by the end of the month, but conceptually it's the same. So essentially on your invoice, you see every month if you've had drinks in the lounge, if you've had maintenance work done, if you register for an event, if you've had a special housekeeping chore, maybe you had your carpets cleaned, you have an electric vehicle, so you have EV charging, that's on your monthly bill already, and you have that wine storage, that's on your monthly resident statement, and certainly your monthly unit assessment is there. But what you will see on your resident statement also is 2 pieces of that dining services fee. The $800, that's the flex spend that you could spend in either the dining room or the grill room. And then the $302, that's the overhead charge for all those things that are listed on that other slide and you have on your handout that you have. So your dining fee will show up in 2 pieces. And what happens in the system is on page 2. So there's your $800, and every time that you have a meal in the dining room or the grill room, as soon as the dining services says, yes, Bonnie's stirring ate here tonight, and they push the button, the $40 charge will show up the next day, and I'm going to show you what it will look like in a moment. But on your statement, you will see each day that you ate in the grill room or the dining room and the amount that was spent. So you will at any point know what your balance is, and I'll show you why in a moment. But so this one is just a sample of someone that ate all those days in the dining room or the grill room, but you know what? It came to a little bit more than the $800. So that extra $122
It's shown
20 is shown on the front
on the last line.
as additional meal. And what it's called now is meals over assessment. And that is on your statement now anyway, or the actual meal charges are there. So conceptually, it is really working very similar, but the advantage is, as was pointed out, is that it's not a $40 charge in the grill room when you go for a meal, but actually only what you spend. So your dollars are really stretched more than they were in the past. Jim.
So let me use an easy example. I charge 18 dinners, so I've got $80 left. And I go to the grill room 4 times, and my charges are $20 a meal. I don't go any over the $800 extra.
Exactly
Correct.
true. Exactly true.
That is correct. And additionally, keep in mind that you are going to have access to the details of the charges as you go throughout the month. As of today, you have to wait the end of the month or the beginning of the next month to review your statement. Going up with Northstar, you will be able to view your account at any moment of the month. As soon as we close the days, I will imagine that at first it will take us several days to close each day, but moving forward, that should be closed by the next day. And then as soon as it is closed, then the charges will show on your side.
We said the title of our presentation is also What You Need to Know, so this slide is entitled What You Need to Know. Your charges will appear in the date order on your monthly resident statement. So that will help you keep track as well. What is not included in the 800 minimum spend? Your flex dollars cannot be used for the following: the lounge charges, guest meals, alcoholic beverages, or catered events. And why did Smith Ranch Homes decide that? Well, actually, we didn't. The state tax board did. State HOA rules are really clear in where taxes apply, and taxes apply to everything above your monthly, what's included in your monthly assessment. And so we have to pay tax on your monthly assessment for personal consumption. Let me add that piece. So guest meals is not personal consumption. Alcoholic beverages are never in the state of California allowed in a meal plan, or non-alcoholic. Anything that's in a different venue other than, you know, the dining room or the grill room. So the four categories above are taxable and therefore not included in the spend down. That is not something that we sat around and said, let's see if we could, you know, come up with a way to raise revenue. No, that's a state tax law, and I have it here with me in case anybody wants to challenge me.
Hold on, I'm trying.
How does the government find out the guest meal fees? Do you have to let them know what is a guest meal?
Yes, our accounting,
Yes,
Danielle probably knows better.
Yeah, the accounting will do that. You know, all the guest meal are charged to your account using a different coding. And that's how we differentiate a homeowner's meal versus a guest meal.
And either monthly or quarterly, as the amount dictates, we have to pay that sales tax to the state, and that's done through our accounting department. Okay. So, Jim, before we go.
Are Arnold Palmer's, for instance, you know, non-alcoholic things that we get charged for, Cokes, Arnold Palmer's, etc., are those in the flex or not?
No. The Arnold Palmer, the coffee, tea, milk, and we extended ourselves to the Arnold Palmer because it's a mixture of iced tea, and a little bit of lemonade. So those are non-taxable for a homeowner. They are taxable for a guest.
So anything that's in our defined meal plan of soup, salad, entree, dessert, and the included beverages are part of the meal plan.
Okay, because we were never charged for coffee, but we've always been charged for Arnold Palmer's extra.
In the dining, not in the dining room, in the grill room.
Right.
But by the same token, you order a coffee in the grill room, you will be charged for a coffee.
Remember, in the
The
grill room
dinner-
is full a la carte. It's
Yeah.
not, there's no meal plan in the grill room. It's full a la carte.
We used to have what we called a meal plan lunch, and that included all four items like we serve in the dining room, meaning soup, salad, entree, dessert, coffee, tea, milk. So the meal plan in the grill room included all those 5 items. But remember, 1 meal equal 1 meal, regardless of the dollar value. So we started itemizing that meal plan just for the reason that many times at the end of the month, the homeowners will call me and say, hey, I just had a half a sandwich and I thought I was not going to go, I was not going to go over my meal, the number of meals in a month that I did. So you charge me whatever it was, like $30 for a half sandwich. So then, you know, we had to review the account and credit. So we decided to kind of eliminate that meal plan option and to itemize all the items that are viewed as one meal as of now. Now, moving forward, November 1st doesn't matter anymore because we are going to itemize everything. The dinner will be only one flat fee, like a prefix dinner, $40. And then the grill room will be a la carte, depending on what you order. So if today you order a cup of soup, well, they really want your package out. So if you order just a cup of soup, you will be charged only for a cup of soup.
Okay. The most common thing we heard after the town hall was, but I always keep track of my meals on a calendar. What am I going to do? So, here's some helpful hints for those, and I have to admit, we do it too. But so instead of putting one, or you could put one, but know that that one means that you've had a dinner, and that the value of that dinner is $40. As before, 20 meals in the dining room is 20 meals times $40, or an $800 value. And that makes you even with the allocation. For meal in the grill room, you do get a receipt. So I would just write down that you spent $22.10 in the grill room. And as we have said, after you reach the $800 flex spend allowance, additional food purchases will show as additional charges for that month. And as Danielle alluded to a little while ago, you can always check your balance online. Now, this is a sample from the test system. We used my resident account and charged a whole bunch of things in the test system, and that's how we're working it. So please know that some of these things are a little weird, but we came up with some very interesting combinations of what to charge on my account. But you will see that all of the charges, there's a tab under home, and the third one down says account summary. And so at any time, you can go into the website, go to account summary, and you will know your total as of that day. Now that may mean there's still some outstanding chits that dining services hasn't posted yet. But as Danielle said, after a few months and a little bit of time, they will pretty much be posted within 2 days, if not 1 day, of when you've been in the dining room or the grill room. So I think just give us a little bit of leeway and time to trust the system, like we all have to do. And once we know that it's working right, know that at any time you can see a running balance of your dining purchases. Okay, Danielle.
So, what happens next? Well, we go live Saturday, November 1. And actually, I am glad it falls on a Saturday. Just because the volume is much lesser than in the volume of diners is much less than in the dining room. And that is going to give us an opportunity to check if there are some areas that we didn't think of, or if the menu also, the grill room menu, just responds to what we believe it should respond to. So that's going to be interesting. I hope that by Saturday we are going to have a very clear understanding on how the menu is going to be viewed by you, and we are going to be able to test it before we get to November 1, because I have been working behind the scene without really seeing how the menus are going to be translated in the homeowner's side. So that is going, we're going to start reviewing all those menus, I think, starting Wednesday. And that is going to give me about 3 days to kind of go back and forth with my side and compare it to your side, just to make sure that what you see is really a mirror of what I see at my end. So the staff is going to start training Wednesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's really 3 days of training for the staff, so that's going to be kind of challenging, but we are going to get there. Remember earlier in the presentation, I did mention that I was going to probably at first have the staff use a platform for billing purposes. So this way it's not going to affect the service. You will still see the server take your orders on a pad like they have been doing. And they are going to turn those orders by hand manually to the kitchen staff. And then maybe having one server take several orders every night and input them in the platform so the orders can print in the kitchen. Honestly, I am very confident that the front of the house is going to be able to use the platform without too many difficulties. I am much more concerned about the kitchen staff. And I had mentioned that to many of you already passing by, that the way the tickets are going to read, they're going to be very different to what they are accustomed to. And of course, they will have to train their eye to read those tickets differently, and that is going to take time. So that's one of the main reasons I am going to start rolling out this program with the kitchen slowly, because I don't want them to look at 15 tickets and stare at them for 5 minutes and not understanding exactly what they need to do. I don't want to go there. But by printing like 3 or 4 tickets a night, they are going to kind of get their eye trained to read them differently. And hopefully sooner than later, they will be able to get all the orders through the computer. We are going to have some hurdles, I'm sure, and but we have not think of, and we are asking everyone, patience. We know if we see something that is not working correctly, well, we are going to reach out to Northstar or to whoever to make sure that we kind of we look at those issues and we correct them so they are not repeated. We try to think about everything we can. I have a very good computer or Northstar platform representative. He was a club manager several years ago, so he has a very good understanding of the dining portion of the platform. So he's been very helpful. Now we are also very unique in terms of the menu designing and such. So that's where maybe we might encounter some issues here and there. If you see anything but you feel it's not right, I need to know it so we can look at it and try to correct it. Again, the reservations, dining room, grill room, continuing the same way. Again, reservation in the grill room, seating is limited. Maybe we are going to see a small increase in attendance during the winter month. So reservations will be recommended more so. And then I was ahead of myself, but I ask everyone to be patient. So I'm going to repeat myself, patience. We are doing what we can to make this transition seamless. And keep in mind that this is a little bit concerning for us as well. We are just like putting a strong front here, but we are concerned, and we want the system to work beautifully for everybody from day one.
Okay, so we do have some time for any questions about part 2. Richard?
Just a question about, do you want residents to use the dining comment cards for comments that may be related to systems issues as well as the kind of dining issues that have been used in the past?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. We do receive comments through the website, and I would encourage people to continue to do so. If you prefer to send me a personal email, I do get those too, by phone or on the comment cards. So we are, like I said, we are not changing anything. The only change will be that the accounting system is different and the way, we look at your meals.
I do have a question for Danielle. I was a little unclear about your description of the menu entry by the waiters and waitresses.
I'm sorry, by what?
By the waiter or waitress. Is it your intent that eventually they will have a mobile device, as you see in many restaurants these days?
That is the plan. However, we didn't feel it was necessary to launch this platform with those handheld devices from day one, just because we will not be using them at first, thinking about the kitchen crew.
Yeah, I know nothing about technology, but we are very different from a restaurant. If I want snap peas instead of cauliflower, I can't do that in a restaurant. Will the device they have be able to record that kind of change?
Yes.
Which is subtle.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
You'll hear us often joke about modifiers. We probably at Smith Ranch Homes have more modifiers than Northstar has ever seen in all of their 1,000 of country club clients put together. But that's our personality. That's what the beauty of Smith Ranch Homes is. So I can assure you that Danielle has fiercely protected that, in the move to Northstar.
However, talking about those modifications, again, when we start rolling out the program, we will be asking everyone to somewhat restrict all those modifications, just because it will take time for the staff to input them in the system.
I don't like snap peas.
Say what? I'm sorry?
I know, I always substitute my green beans, Ian, so I understand. Any other questions? Sarah?
I don't have a question, but I must compliment you on a very organized presentation.
We agree. Karen has been an immense support, throughout this entire journey. And without Karen, I guarantee you, we will not be here today.
She's been in every department too, so I want to thank you too. Thank you.
Well, I think some of you know my background is I was with a membership association, 38 years, I guess, of different associations. So my role has been working with staff. Staff needs to be the expert in these modules, not a resident. So I've been just working on the transition of trying to get the staff to understand how the module works and how they can adapt the module to their processes, or, as importantly, as I've said before, change their processes to be better automated about what they do, and to make sure we're using the technology. I think that's been the approach of the technology is there, so how do we adapt what we do to make sure we maximize the technology? So it's just now, as of live, I still have some roles to do, but really it's been very staff driven, and the enthusiasm of the staff has just been incredible. So I thank the staff. Thank you very much. Reach out to us if you need to.